May 1st, 2023. A new brawler was released. A chromatic one because there were a ton of chromatic ones back then. And like always, she was in tier 30. Her name was Maisie. Right now, Maisie would look like, that's a common brawler. Nothing special. In fact, she's only an epic. But imagine back then, in season 18, how much of a hype she was. I don't remember back then because the 2021 and 2023 era, I skipped it all. Like, I skipped also 2022. You can talk me about 2019 and 2020, but not about later. But I'm pretty sure people were hyped because of Maisie, right? You guys were hyped, right? Anyways, the damage output was insane. The super damage output was meh, but it was still good. The super damage, let's say that not the damage, but the effect that super gave, the knockback. It was pretty similar to Jackie, but while you want to pull people with Jackie, you want to push away people with Maisie. And this was what she was doing. Her super was very similar to Jackie, but the opposite of what she was doing, and she would also deal damage. This was why people would actually use Maisie. Why would they actually be so passionate about using a brawler with a so common knockback? And then, hello people, so I tried to do a, common YouTuber intro. I never did one because I actually didn't ever think that I needed one. But yeah, I simply wanted to do one. Today we are talking about Maisie and why she actually isn't in the meta, even that she deals 3000 damage per shot. And if you got the star power, it should be like 3600 maybe, or something similar. I'm not sure. But I still don't believe Maisie is in the meta. The thing that Maisie deals 3000 damage right now instead of 2800 like she used to is actually insane. Like, you can be 3-shotted with almost every brawler, and with some of them you can still be with 2-shotted. If you got the star power, you are going to deal 3600, and if you are able to hit all the 3 shots with Maisie with the star power, that it's pretty hard, but if you're able to, I mean, good job, you would deal 10,800 damage. So let's talk about Maisie. Maisie is in... Actually, I see Maisie more of a damage dealer than a marksman. But she's a marksman because she has everything that a marksman needs, like a push, a gadget that makes you run away from the assassins. Then we've got one shot. Yeah, that's something that marksmen have, and yeah, usually damage dealers don't have. Sorry, I actually don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, I see why she's a marksman instead of a damage dealer, but the way I actually use her is more of a damage dealer instead of a marksman. I usually use her against tanks. I mean, tanks are usually scared of Maisie for some reason. Whatever, enough yapping, let's go and discuss why she's not in the meta. Her main attack deals 3000 damage, and it's pretty slow. Yeah, the slow 3000 damage is good, because it's very slow. Super needs only 4 shots, and if you're able to get a person within the super, you will still need other 3 shots to recharge it, but if you're able to have 2 people, then you will need 2 shots to recharge it. That's usually what you want to try to do with Maisie anyway, so yeah. She has a star power that lets her deal more damage. At level 11 you will begin to deal 600 more damage if I'm not wrong. I will put a text on where I will say if it's actually correct or not. The other star power lets you slow down enemies that are in the super. This is of course what you want to use with Maisie usually, because hitting your shots is very hard, and hitting with the super and making them slow helps you a lot cycling through supers. She has a gadget that lets her dash and stun the enemies that are within her. And the second gadget lets her deal 30% of the damage that the enemy has received. This is the famous gadget that lets her deal 30,000 damage to the big boss in a nutshell. But yeah, in an actual match, it's not reliable at all. Go with the dash one. She has a hypercharge that I'm going to show you the stats in the screen, and the hyper super lets her activate more of her shots after the super. Those shots are very useful for cycling through supers, and I'm not kidding. I've cycled through supers multiple times only thanks to those shots. So if you're thinking that her hypercharge is pretty useless, I wouldn't say it is not useless, but it's very hard to use and it's not something that you would like to use on every map. Let's talk about maps that you would like to use Maisie together with mods. I'm repeating, I'm not a pro player. Take these advices like if it was your classmate that is the strong one in your class that gives you advices. Of course you would prefer to listen to some pro players, but yeah, till you've got that friend that helps you with something. That's me, I'm that friend. See me as a friend and not a pro player that gives you advices. I personally use her a lot on Brawl Ball. The fact that her knockback is so easy to achieve and her stun is literally her gadget, and she has a slow as a star power for a super that is very easy to cycle through, makes her an absolute dominant brawler on Brawl Ball.
Yeah, but Brawl Ball has too many walls and she's a marksman.
Good job, little Jimmy. You were able to understand what is her weakness. She's an absolute legend on Brawl Ball because her super can still go through walls, giving a really hard time to your enemies. Another thing that you should think about is the map on Brawl Ball. Pinball Dreams is really good map. This is the map that you're seeing on the screen right now. I literally played her all the day on this map and almost never failed. The enemy is going to be scared of opening up the walls because this would let you have your Marksman effects, but at the same time they are also scared to let them close because, you know, you're super. Her hypercharge really helps you on the spots that you're seeing on the screen right now because the enemy has almost no way to escape. I'm literally describing Maisie like a god, right? Like the Brawl Stars has created a character that has no weaknesses. And here comes her two weaknesses. First thing first, throwers can still deal a ton of damage. I know I said that her super can go through walls, but they can't of course one-shot a thrower. So yeah, not only this, if the thrower is behind the walls and the Maisie has no super, Maisie has no way of attacking that thrower. So this is one of her biggest weaknesses. Throwers that have direct damage, but also a great output of DPS like Barley. Or even better, the twins. I was kidding, there are three weaknesses. The second weakness is of course the spawners. I like to call them like this. Worst enemy in all, you would ask? Mr. P. Yeah, I know she's a marksman and this is not a surprise. Mr. P is almost good against every marksman. Like, not almost, he's always good against every single marksman in the game, except for Janet. She's pretty strange. Why is Janet a marksman in the first place? Like, she's different from the others. And her third weakness is of course her projectile speed. This thing is so easy to dodge that unless you don't cycle through your first super, it's going to be impossible for you to win. So try to cycle through your first super and then you can pretty much assault everyone. But unless you don't have that first super, yeah, you're a goner. I repeat, I'm not a pro player. Anyways, subscribe and use code Jimbo.